Hey folks, David Frost, LazyGapTrader.com. In this video, we're going to be talking about a couple of morning gap trades. Gap trading is absolutely the single best day trading strategy available in the market today. In my course at Lazy Gap Trader, I teach two specific strategies with gap trading. One is the morning gap trades, where we identify stocks that are gapping higher or lower at the open, and then we're able to teach you how to identify what levels those stocks should find either support or resistance and have a price reaction from that number. The second strategy in the course is the gap fill strategy, where I teach specifically how to identify stocks that are coming back to fill gaps left open by a prior day's close. And just the same as the morning gap strategy, those levels are likely to have a price reaction. I teach in the course precisely which stocks this works the best with, which stocks to avoid. I teach how to utilize both these strategies to your advantage so you can profit handsomely for the rest of your life. What I also do is I offer to subscribers who want them a look at my morning gap trades each and every day. I offer it as an additional service, but I do offer it on a 2-week trial basis. So as a result, let's take a look at today's morning gap trades and the email that went out to subscribers. Today, there were 4 possible gap trades that were identified before the market opened. This email goes out to subscribers about 9:15 in the morning, Eastern Time. So today we had 4 possibilities: Baidu, Altisource, Acadia Pharma, and Vitamin Shop. The bottom 2 did not hit their levels. ACAD and VSI didn't hit their gap levels, so they become a no trade. When a stock doesn't hit its level, we just discard it and move on. But the first 2, Baidu and ASPS, did hit their levels, and I'm going to go over those trades today. As you can see with all the stocks, I specify whether it's a gap lower or higher. Support levels, I usually give 1, 2, or even 3 support levels or resistance levels if it's a stock gapping higher. And then I also give a stop and profit target to utilize with each specific stock. So let's take a look at the first one, which is Baidu. Now here we're looking at a 10-minute chart of Baidu. And what you'll notice is in the first candle of the day, the stock came down quite a bit below the level I cited at $181.60. Now that happens sometimes, and therefore this particular stock or this particular trade at $181.60 goes in the books as a loss because it came down below the stop level, and making a low in this candle of $179.31. Therefore, technically, it's a loss, but I want to show you the power of these levels. Even though we're not going to win on every trade, but we do win more often than not. The gap trading strategy as a whole has about a 79-80% win rate, but we're still not going to win on every trade. But just to show you the power of these levels, even though the stock came down below the level and it's booked as a loss, okay, you can see how quickly the stock recovered, and in the next 10-minute candle, making a high of 183.75. Even just to display the power of these levels, even though it's booked as a loss, I wanted to show you that the levels that I teach you how to get in my course are very, very precise. Even though you're still not going to win on every trade, you're going to win about 80% of the time if you take the course, learn how to identify the levels, and treat it accordingly. Meaning if you employ a discipline that I teach in the course by following the rules, you're still going to win about 80% of the time. Now look at the second level today, 177.55. The stock was very weak. It came down below the first level, and in the third 10-minute candle of the day, so about a half hour into the trading day, it came down to the secondary level that I gave in the morning email at 177.55, making a low in that candle of 176.50, and that was within the stop loss limitation. So that trade gets booked as a win, and as you can see, you could have made a maximum gain in this of 182.08 or over $4.50 maximum gain, or anywhere in between. And in my course, I teach how to maximize the gain in these stocks. Even though I give a recommended profit target, that tends to be a minimum profit target, and I teach in my course how to utilize a strategy where we're taking some of the profit for ourselves. and we're making the rest of the trade a risk-free, emotionless trade, enabling us to get most of the profit on the second half of the trade, for example, in this case, of almost $4.50. So what that did was, A, it made up for the loss on the first trade just a few minutes earlier, and it gave us a profit for the day, and that's without even considering another trade. Again, it shows you the power of the precise levels that I teach you how to identify in my course. Now, let's take a look at a second stock today that also hit its level, ASPS, and in this case, the same thing happened. So this was one of those days where a little frustrating at times because the stock went through its level in the first 10-minute candle of the day, making a low of 28.03, which was below or more than the recommended stop limit order. So our level was 28.53, but it did go below that. And as you can see, just the same, in the next 10-minute candle of the day, the stock made a high of 29.18. So again, even though it's booked as a loss, and that doesn't happen a lot, usually 80% of the time we're winning these trades, but I wanted to be fair, and I wanted to show you a couple of trades that actually caused some struggle today. But again, there's always a lesson to take away from all the trades, and the lesson today, if nothing else, was that these levels are precise and they do work out most of the time and produce the bounce we're looking for. In the case of a stock on its way down, they do produce the reactionary bounce that we're looking for. This one just happened to go a few cents below the stop loss limit, which is booked as a loss, but nevertheless, there's always a takeaway from every single trade. And the second takeaway from ASPS today is, look at the secondary level, 27.55. Here, in this candle here at 10:20 in the morning, the stock made a low of 27.58. Now, it didn't hit the level, but you can see how precise these levels are. Even though it missed it by a few pennies, and that happens sometimes, you can see how precise the levels that I teach in the course on how to get them are and how they can benefit you. Again, this doesn't happen every day. Normally, we get a winning trade. 80% of the time, we're going to have winners. But to be fair, I wanted to show you a day where we had a couple of losing opportunities, but nevertheless, it still displays the power of the levels. And you can see, even on a losing trade, where you still got a quick bounce, even though it's booked at a loss. And there are some traders that do have the staying power to stay in a trade a little bit longer than my recommended level, and they do end up with winners, even though it's booked as a loss, to be fair. And in this case, had the stock come all the way down to 27.55, look what happened after that. So you can see the power of this zone in here, how we identified it early in the morning before the market opened, and even though it came up 3 cents short, just think if it was 3 or 4 cents below that level, what would have happened had you taken that trade all the way up here just a few minutes later at a high of $30.44. Now, we didn't get the win, but nevertheless, it still shows you the power of these levels. And think about the days, and we have plenty of them, where we have 1, 2, or even 3 trades working out like this, and we had several last week that worked out in our favor, big, big wins. So I just wanted to be fair and show you both sides of the coin and show you winning trades and also show you trades that didn't work out, but yet there's a takeaway and how precise the levels really are. With that, I'm going to wrap it there. Come over to LazyGapTrader.com, take the course, learn how to do this for yourself. You too can have a 79-80% win rate on these gap trades, whether it's the morning gaps or gap fill trades. It's a license to print money. It's a great opportunity to learn a strategy where you can profit for life. I'm David Frost, LazyGapTrader.com. Thanks for tuning in, folks.